Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Core Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm finishing off my nighttime Spooks marathon for you guys. The first video I'm reacting to is 3 true, really creepy Chipotle horror stories. Without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get the traction on the road in the back, shall we? Okay, here we go.
I worked at Chipotle for about 3 years. This is the creepiest thing that I've ever experienced working there.
Okay.
One night, after a busy day at work, it was almost closing time, so I went to sweep the floors before we closed up.
Right.
There was only one person still in the restaurant at this time. It was a pretty average-looking man who appeared to be in his 30s. He was just sitting at the corner table looking down and didn't have any food. I ignored him and kept sweeping.
If it's getting close to closing time, I would have been walking over there and say, "Sir, we're about ready to close. You don't mind getting up and leaving?" In a nice tone, of course, because I don't want to make the customer mad that you're kicking them out. But yeah, that's kind of odd that he don't have no food right there on the table. He's just sitting there. Let's just continue on and see what happens next, shall we?
Once it was time to close, I told the man that we were closing and he would have to leave. He looked up at me and just stared at me like he was confused. I said again that we were now closed. He nodded his head at me, and I walked away expecting him to leave. After I walked away, I saw him get up, but instead of walking to the door to leave, he went to the bathrooms. I was kind of annoyed, but what could I do? I just hoped he wouldn't be long in the bathroom. I finished sweeping and then waited. About 5 minutes went by, and I decided to go into the bathroom to tell the man he needed to leave. When I got into the bathroom, there was nobody in there.
What? How is that possible? I mean, there ain't no way that he snuck past you while you were cleaning the floor, because then he would have poked his head up and seen him leaving. Probably no emergency exit in that area too, so how did he get out? I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's a ghost. You never know, right?
I couldn't believe my eyes. I know I saw him go in the men's bathroom. I went out and looked in the women's, which was also empty. I don't know how that man could have left. There was no exit at the back of the restaurant. We just locked up and went home, and I never saw the man again.
And he clarified that there ain't no emergency exit. And sometimes emergency exits would have alarms on them, so when you open the door, it will go off. So if there ain't one of those there, I don't know how in the world he got out unless he snuck through where the kitchen is at and decided to go out the employee's entrance only door. But why would he do that? I don't know. Might be mentally disturbed. But then if he did not see him go out of the bathroom and walk right out in the main entrance, then it has to be a ghost. Because if he did not order anything, he's just sitting there. He's probably confused on what's going on and decided to evaporate quick, I guess. I don't know. But that is just crazy. I'd be spooked out for sure if I had to work a night shift at a place like this and the customer just vanished without even seeing him leave. But anyway, let's get to story number 2, shall we?
In the summer of 2019, I was an employee at a Chipotle restaurant. For the most part, I liked the job. I would do a little bit of everything. One afternoon, after the rush of lunch, it quieted down and I went to clean the seating area, which had gotten a little messy. As I cleaned, I noticed that a man sitting by himself at a table kept staring at me and was watching me wherever I went. It didn't really bother me at all that much, and I just kept working. After I was done cleaning, I worked the cash register. I worked there for 2 more hours, and then at 4 p.m., my shift was over and it was time to go home. When I went to leave, I noticed that the man was still there. I was shocked at why he would still be here. I had no idea why. His eyes watched me as I walked out the door and toward my car. As I got in my car, I noticed him leave Chipotle as well.
Oh man, you got a stalker in your restaurant. At this point, I'll be having 911 on speed dial and say, I just left the place of business that I work at and the customer got up and is following me now because I'm afraid that that person will get followed by this other dude.
This made me concerned, and I quickly drove home. The next time I worked, I noticed the man again. He walked into the restaurant and immediately started looking around until he saw me. I was glad I didn't have much time left in my shift. He sat down at a table and just watched me work until I was off, which was only about 20 minutes. I walked out to my car and left again. The man, of course, left as soon as I did as well. This time, however, I noticed he started following me in his car as I was driving home. I got about halfway home and decided to turn around and go back to Chipotle. I did not want this man knowing where I lived. I made a U-turn and the man did the same. As I was pulling into the Chipotle restaurant, I noticed a police car parking and I drove over and parked next to it. The man following me pulled into the lot and then turned around and pulled out. He drove away. I didn't see the man after that, and I quit just a month later. I don't go to that Chipotle anymore in fear of seeing the man. I'm just glad he never found out where I live.
That was a clever thing of you to do because if you just kept on going, he would have known where you lived at and probably broken into your house to either rob you or kidnap you. Who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't want that person to know where I lived either. And since you parked right next to the police car, he saw that and be like, no, I'm done with her. Don't want to get caught that quick. But man, I would have filed a report and tell him what car he was driving just so they could be on the lookout for him. Because you definitely don't want this guy to be stalking some other employee at another restaurant. But thankfully, she didn't have to deal with him ever again, even after she quit.
About a year ago, a friend and I went to Chipotle on a summer night. It was 9-something at night, and Chipotle closed at 10, so we ate on a table they had on a little patio outside. It was a nice night and very comfortable out. The Chipotle wasn't that busy with it being almost closing time. It was on the end of a little strip mall with some other restaurants and a phone service store. As we were eating, we heard a noise coming from the bushes near us. I thought maybe a squirrel or a duck had wandered over, but it sounded bigger than that. The noise went away after about a minute. We heard it a couple more times, but we assumed it was just a little animal and didn't think much of it. My friend and I ended up leaving just before one of the workers was about to lock the doors. We got in my car and sat for about a minute before seeing a man emerge from the bushes that we had been sitting near. He walked into the side entrance of Chipotle and went directly behind the counter. We realized the noise we were hearing was a man the whole time. He had on a backpack and wore a baseball cap. Other than that, I couldn't really make out much detail.
Yeah, because he's trying to hide his identity. He was waiting for the right moment for Chipotle to be closed and just walk right on in there and probably steal the cash out of the cash registers. You see somebody like that, call the police before he decides to grab all the money and go.
After a couple seconds of watching him, we realized that he appeared to be robbing the place. We saw him and the worker behind the counter talking, and the worker had a pretty concerned look on his face. My friend and I decided to call the police. They said they would arrive shortly, but after about 2 more minutes, the man ran back out the side door and into the bushes again. The police arrived a minute later, and we told them all we could. They also spoke to the Chipotle worker for a long time. I'm not sure if the man was ever caught, but knowing he waited right behind us in the bushes before he robbed the place really creeps me out.
Man, I wish he was caught. If the police were only there a little bit quicker, then they could have got him and got the money back. But man, that would be creepy too. You're just sitting outside of a restaurant and then you see the bushes moving. You think, well, it's probably either a duck or a squirrel. But then you see somebody emerge from it to go inside the restaurant after it's supposedly closed and robbed the place. Thank God that he did not show himself right there in front of them people while they were outside eating and rob them, because I know that'd be a terrifying experience for not only the worker but for them as well. But hopefully he does get caught. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Nighttime Spooks content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and that's rapping. And let's stay on.